So, you have a beautiful Panthera like this one? Or you're considering buying one, but the low shot count is of your concern? Thanks to this little guy and the dynamic block, you can change it into a hunter, into a bench rest gun with tons of air on board and a lot of shots. Let's get started. So, the FX Panthera, beginning, it is solely built for a PRS, NRL kind of type of shooting style with basically a low shot count, not something that we know or are accustomed to from FX, because we have the FX Impact with huge bottles, massive shot counts and stuff. This one gives you in very high power, of course, about one magazine and a half before you have to refill your Panthera. That's maybe something people dislike about the Panthera or holds off on buying a Panthera. But as I mentioned in the previous videos, this new dynamic block and FX, knowing FX, they have created an opening or an access point here at the front behind this barricade stop, where you can thread in an adapter just like this one, and you can move your smaller bottle to the front to create some kind of a hunter. I've seen one on Iwa recently with a very short barrel. The bottle here at the front, it looks like a little bit a Dreamline on steroids. Really cool little gun. Or you can mount even a 700cc bottle at the front and still your 300 at the back, and then you have 1 liter capacity of air and therefore a massive shot count as well. So in this video we'll go over in how to install this little guy here at the front, and we'll see what kind of few options you have, and let's get started, shall we? So first let's have a quick look at the kit itself. This is the original one from FX. As I mentioned before, I saw Yuma Air also already made one just like this. This calls the Panthera Hunter Double Air Adapter Kit with the part number right there. And in that little bag you get yourself 2 items. You get that bottle adapter to thread in behind that barricade stop, and you get yourself as well this plug. When you are about to remove the back bottle and that mounting point, you can blank it off with this blank screw as well. So let's get started disassembling. So here we have the Panthera. Before we start, a safe gun to work on, always very important. So make sure it is not cocked, there are no pellets in the breech, and it has been put unsafe. Now, in order to start, we have to remove all the air from the system. So let's start off by removing the bottle at the back. Now with the bottle removed, verify your gauges, and you will notice that there is still air in the plenum that is wrapped around the barrel right here. And the only thing you can do, take a little Allen key, insert it into your regulator, and a slight crank counterclockwise until you hear the air coming out of the adapter right here. Let it bleed out before we continue. So, bleeding took a little bit because of course it's a massive plenum on the 700cc. As you can see, the gauges both read 0 now, and I'm confident there is no air anymore in the plenum. For those who are wondering, that adapter you see right here to mount your bottle is not the same as the adapter that will have to thread in right there. The threads on the end are a little bit different, so don't think you can use this adapter to mount it to the front. That's a little bit different. It is this adapter that if you remove, that can be replaced with that blank screw that you see right here, in order to keep it all empty if you want to create some kind of a very compact hunter and put that 300cc bottle here at the front later on. So with that done, we can go about and disassemble the whole front rail and part you see right here. And the first thing we'll do is remove that barricade stop. You have 2 holes at the bottom right here that correspond with 2 Allen screws that you see right there. I believe it's this size. The best thing to do is use an Allen key like this one right here. With normal Allen keys, you don't have the force that is required in order to disassemble or to loosen them. Those are 2. Now if you look closely, I don't know if you can see it well on camera, inside there are still two screws, one on this side and one on that side inside that block that screw into the main block, so we also have to undo those. Let me quickly find them. And for these screws it's maybe handier to use normal Allen keys. Like this one. That's one screw. Still that one on the left you see right there inside. Thread it completely out. Like this. And your barricade stop at this point is removed. Two different types of screws, two different sizes. The skinnier ones are the ones that go into your block, and the thicker ones are the ones that go into that rail. Put them safely to the side if you plan on not using it. Then we can go ahead and remove the 3 screws on this side and the 3 screws on that side, so we can slide off the whole rail assembly. Always be careful when you put your Panthera down not to bump too much on these gauges, as you can damage them. From the schematics I've seen that there is a difference between the 2 bottom screws and the top one. The top one should be smaller or shorter, better said. As you can see, there is a difference. The bottom ones are a little bit longer than the top ones, so keep that in mind. Turn the Panthera around, and the screws on the other side. Oops, make sure you don't lose your screws. Just like this, keep both sets to the side, make sure you don't lose them. And at this point it should be possible to wiggle out that rail. You can see it slides out, and then we can slide it off all the way from the front, just like this. And there you have the complete front rail, as you can see. And then there is only still one part that we have to remove, and that is that block that you see right here, that is there in order to fix everything together too. And it's with those 2 screws at the front. I believe, nope, wrong key. Again here, this part is maybe easier with an Allen key just like this. That is one. I'm not sure if you can keep this in place, if it will interfere with the bottle adapter or the bottle itself. Maybe it's easier to undo them with my fingers. As I mentioned before, everything is new to me as well. The Panthera, I haven't taken it completely apart yet, so I'm just going along with what I know, what I've seen, and from the schematics, of course, that you can find always on the support page of FX, which is a great place for information if you need O-ring sizes or stuff like that. Always good to check that one out as well. And just like this, you have this block, cradle, how do you call it, put it to the side as well. And with that done, we can undo this brass plug here at the bottom. I believe it's this one if I'm not mistaken. That's your plug in order to screw in that bottle adapter. You always use a good Allen key to undo these things. Nice big brass plug. Let's see what's down in the hole. Nothing special, it's just a blank hole. Keep this safely to the side if you want to convert back. I can't mention it enough. Losing screws is a big headache. And then we take that bottle adapter supplied in that kit, and it simply threads in. Just like so. And then you take yourself a, what is it? A blah 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 blah. A 24, I believe, 24 millimeter socket. I don't know if my socket is deep enough in order to grab over it. Yes, it is. And just tighten it up. There is, how do they call it, a dowdy seal, so it doesn't have to be super tight, but make sure it's tight enough so when you undo your bottle, you can make sure the bottle adapter stays in place while unscrewing your bottle, of course. And just like that, we have the bottle installed, so let's get back to the table and see what kind of different configurations you can make out with this. Here we are. So, as you could see, installing that little bottle adapter at the front is actually a piece of cake. Very easy, very simple to do, takes only a little bit of time. But now we have a very, seems to be like, nice balanced air gun, by coincidence, but it looks a little bit funny. As I mentioned before, you could remove the bottle at the back, install that plug at the back, and you could go for a small bottle at the front. Let me quickly thread it on just like this. Just to show you, I'm not going to put it on all the way. Just like this. It maybe looks a little bit awkward with this very long barrel, of course, but you could add one like this at the front and have yourself a little hunter, because I mentioned before on IWA, I'll put a picture up on the screen. FX showed one with a very short barrel just like this, which made for a compact and short, lightweight hunter, of course, which is a cool look as well. Of course, you can also go and add another 300cc at the back, so you have two 300cc bottles, you get about 600cc's, which is a double in shot capacity, of course, and which would also create a very nice look. Undoing that bottle again at the front, let me put the Panthera down, it's maybe a bit easier. Always remember, put enough grease on the threads right there. When you put your bottles on and off, it could save you a big headache as well. Now, of course, you can also go for a 480cc at the front, or a 580, or even a 700 if you want. Your options are actually whatever you feel like. So, let me quickly put this one on. Here you have 480cc with a 700mm barrel, but I believe it looks a lot better with a 580 or even a 700. Together with a 300 at the back and a 700 at the front, you have 1 liter of air capacity, which will increase your shot count massively, of course. So let's quickly put this one at the back. Just like this for an example. You get yourself 480 and 300 will bring you to almost 800 cc's of air in just this configuration, which is also really cool. As I mentioned before, you can do whatever you want with it. Now, the only thing, when you want to put two bottles on, you have to turn them in simultaneously. Meaning that once this valve opens, it blows air through the system, and since this part is open, it blows air out this way. So when you put them on, the best thing to do, make sure you don't hit the ceiling, is put your gun upright like this and turn them in with your two hands together until they start pushing air inside. You can feel from the moment your valve starts to hit the thing, and then you start cranking them down at the same time, completely filling your system with air. Now, this is a very nice option, but I have another one as well. Now, some of you who are following me for a while already, this is a tube that I made for one of my custom builds. I think it was the first triple regulated airgun in the world, which was the Maverick tube style. With this one, as you can see right here, it also fitted my impact. And you could actually also use it on this one right here. It still has that fill port at the front, so you get, even with the Panthera, an extra fill port. It is a custom made part at the back, so it's not something you can buy off the shelf, of course, but you can thread it in exactly the same way. And I don't know exactly how much is in this. I believe 220 cc's or something, or 250, I'm not really sure. And now you get yourself some kind of something that looks like this. 300 cc's at the back, 200 and something at the front. It even looks a little bit cool. It looks a bit futuristic, like this. Looks pretty cool, I find, with that tube even as well. And the main benefit of this, if you want, you can still fit your rail back. This will still fit over it, just like this. The only thing is, as you can see, the rail will be too short. I have this Picatinny part at the front that I will have to remove in order to slide it all the way back. But still, I believe this is a great option as well, if you're really into this, of course. You get yourself an extra fill port if you want. This also has a regulator inside, so this tube is dual regulated, not that it's important, but anyway. Removing this one, we could also use this. This is a tube. It comes from the Dreamline, if I'm not mistaken. 170 cc's, 230 bar fill. So you do have to keep in count when you're filling that this is 230, this is 250. Make sure you don't overfill this, because this is still just an aluminum bottle. And same applies here. You can screw it on just like this. And get yourself an extra 170 cc's to go together with your 300 cc's at the back. Gives you more or less the same amount of volume as you have with the 480 cc bottle, which is pretty cool as well. Now the biggest main benefit of this one, if we replace, where is it? This little bracket here that sits underneath inside that block, we can also slide back the rail, and that 170 cc bottle fits nicely underneath that rail, which is pretty awesome. You still have your access for your Arca rail here at the front. You have that bottle at the bottom, and you get your Panthera looking just like this, which is also pretty cool, I think. So the bottle adapter by FX Airguns, or the one by Yuma Air, doesn't matter which one you would like to install, brings you a lot more options in order of air capacity on your FX Panthera. So no more nagging about the low shot count of your FX Panthera. You can make it a hunter, a bench rest gun, something with 1 liter of air on board, maybe a dual bottle adapter somebody's going to ever create for this, bringing a lot of more options for the FX Panthera. If you have any questions regarding that bottle adapter, don't hesitate to put something in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answering them. While you're there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you back in the next one. Bye.